Hello Poland, it's a long time ago we have been seeing each other. Some of you know me already. My name is Bruno Rauffaer. Marta asked me to think about the new elements that can affect the human resources management in the next future. So in my short talk of about 10-15 minutes maximum, I will try to give you some new insights that I think are going to have a tremendous impact on human resources even in the near future. Let me start by saying that this world is at this moment in a very turbulent situation. If we look at all the wars going on, if we look at ISS and the impact of this war in the Arab world with all the fugitives and people trying to get into the Western European countries, even if it's Poland or Hungary or Belgium or the Netherlands or Germany, then I think this has a very big impact on our labor employment and situations. I think it's going to be a very challenging period, and it's also being very important to see that at this moment we see a switch in the political world to the right wing, and that has also an impact on the inflow of migrations of young people that we will need in the future for our companies. I also see that there is a big economical crisis going on and the world economy is slowing down. Just take examples of China, take examples of the United States, take examples of Brazil. So we see that there is a lot going on which has an impact on our companies and of course also an impact on the human resources. What I think is one of the first elements that I discovered, as you know, in my book, No Way, Big Bad Boss Era is Over, which is standing there in the back. One of the elements that I think is going to be very important in human resources is what I call we have to create a hit. And the hit is mentioned, it's the abbreviation of we have to be more humble, we have to create integrity, and most important, I think we have to have trust in ourselves and in the young generations coming into our companies. A colleague of mine and of you, a human resources director in a company in Hong Kong, wrote a very nice book, and Bernard, he gave me some insights on that I think is very important. If you look at your workforce, there are three elements that you can define which are very important for people for working. I call it MESS, and MESS stands for: are your people motivated to work? Secondly, are they engaged and motivated? And third, are they satisfied? I know in the last 20-30 years we did a lot of research in our companies about motivation and satisfaction inquiries. But I think engagement is also a very important element. So in your company you can have three kinds of people. They can be motivated but not engaged and not satisfied. You can have people engaged but not motivated and maybe not satisfied. Or you can have satisfied people because of the salary but they are not engaged. So it's a very important issue to look in the future, how can we as companies motivate our people, have an engagement from everybody, and there is a satisfaction. And when I look at this, I see this in the four different levels. The motivation, engagement and satisfactory level has to be on four levels. The first one is the individual level. The second one is the teams in which the people are working. Third, it's the management, and of course the organization as a whole, but not the organization only looking at the organization in the isolated world, but I think it's important today that there is an engagement, a storytelling which is not anymore only a corporate social responsibility policy, and also an economical manifesto. But I would like to say that at this moment, the social mission for a company is, in my opinion, much more important than only the economical. I have defined some 12 elements which I think are going to be important in human resources in the future. One of them, for example, is, especially we see that in Latin America, is anti-corruption. In a lot of companies we still have corruption going on, and corruption not only on financial level but also on psychological level. If you only look at the way people are moving up on the ladder of management, there is a lot of things going on which we call the iceberg. And you have to question yourself in our organization, is the iceberg under the water level not bigger than the one which is above the water level? So that's the one important thing. Another element which I think is going to be very influential in our companies is what I would call community inclusion. I mean by that, in how many ways is the company involved in what is happening locally in the community where it is living. I think another one is very important is the employee policy. Is it oriented towards the people, or is it oriented towards the machines, the production systems? Another element, and we are installing it, for example, in that company Gusto in Latin America, is that we created our mission, our manifesto, based on the United Nations Declaration. It means that we don't accept any disrespect towards everybody. I think in the future, because of the changing of the demographic situation in the world, interculturality will be very important, and anti-discrimination. And that means also, of course, sexual harassment has to be abolished in a lot of countries and in a lot of companies. Another element which I think is very important, especially for the younger generations, is that there is this balance between work and life. I think also a very important issue which I'm seeing in a lot of countries and companies all over the world, it's what I will call de-bossing. We have to get rid of this hierarchical, authoritarian thinking in our companies. I see a lot of layers in companies going down, swifting away, because we don't need all these layers of managers and supervisors who are continuously controlling everybody. Another element what I see also is that all stakeholders inclusion is an element which is coming on. What do I mean by all stakeholders? It is not anymore only the purpose of the shareholders that is important, but all stakeholders. Another element which I think is also very important in the future is the environmental issues. Younger generations do want to work in companies where there is a respect for the environment, for the nature, for having all these elements together. What do we do with our wastage, for example? I take an example. Just recently in France, a law has been accepted that the big markets cannot throw any more away food that is still usable. They have to give it to elderly people, they have to give it to poor people, and I think this is a tendency which we will see also coming around in all Europe. And for ending, I think it's important that local engagement will be also very important for our companies, society. Everybody has to be engaged in what is happening locally. And to end with, I would like you to give an example where we are writing a new book about. It's what I call Yanapacuna. It's a Quechua word for in Spanish, which means help each other. The title of the new book will be Yanapacuna, because I think it's very important that we understand that we have to live together, work together, and be together. And if we can help this and putting this in our companies as the #1 strategy, then I think we're going to win. If you still think that only the financial bottom line, the gain, the profit is the most important, and that you have to squeeze the whole company, everybody, from all other stakeholders, squeeze like a lemon to have this small profit, then I can say to you very clearly and very loud, this will be the end of your company. I think it has to be the turning around. We have to think more in the other way. We have to think, if we can make our stakeholders, suppliers, employees, customers happy, then automatically it will generate more profit. It has been done already, and studies at the Stanford University, the Business School of Economics. We know that companies who are very much oriented towards the people I think they will find out how it's working. I wish you a very nice conference, a great congress, and I hope to come back to Warsaw one of the coming months, if not years. All the best for now, and thank you for listening to my speech. Bye-bye.